You know, there's something rather peculiar that happens to certain people. They walk into a room and they feel it all. The unspoken tension between two friends, the hidden sadness behind a smile. And we've been told this is a gift, haven't we? This ability to see what others miss. But I want to suggest something quite different to you today. That this variability, this clear seeing, might be the most dangerous thing you'll ever possess. Now, I'm not speaking of danger in the ordinary sense. I'm not talking about physical harm. I'm speaking of something far more subtle and far more devastating. The danger of becoming so aware that you can no longer participate in the beautiful unconsciousness that allows most people to live their lives in relative peace. Have you ever watched people at a party? Really watch them. They're playing a game, you see. Everyone knows the rules without ever being told. You ask how someone is, they say, "Fine." And you both pretend this is a complete answer. You compliment the host. You laugh at jokes that aren't particularly funny. You nod sympathetically at stories you've heard before. It's a kind of collective agreement to stay on the surface, to keep things pleasant, to not look too deeply. But then there's you, the one who sees through it all. You notice the wife who flinches slightly when her husband speaks. You sense the colleague who's desperately lonely despite being surrounded by friends. You feel the anxiety rippling through the room like an invisible current. It's as if you've peeled back the layers of a painting to find that it's nothing but smudged, forgotten strokes underneath. And here's where the danger begins. Because once you see these things, you can't unsee them. It's like a truth that you've uncovered. But truth, like fire, can burn if you're not careful with how you wield it. And more troubling still, your very presence becomes a kind of mirror that others cannot bear to look into. Once you see clearly, once you perceive the hidden currents beneath social interactions, you're essentially calling attention to what everyone has agreed to ignore. And people don't like this. Not because they're bad or stupid, but because your clarity threatens the very structure that allows them to function. You see, society is like a stage play. Everyone has their part. The successful businessman, the devoted mother, the reliable friend. These are roles, you understand, costumes we put on, and the play works beautifully so long as everyone stays in character. But you, with your penetrating awareness, are like an audience member who stands up in the middle of the performance and shouts, "But that's just an actor pretending." Well, you can imagine how welcome that makes you. The first danger then is isolation. And I don't mean the ordinary loneliness of not having enough friends. I mean something far more profound. Isolation of living in a completely different reality from everyone around you. You're speaking a language nobody else understands. You're seeing a world nobody else can see. And the terrible irony is that the more clearly you perceive, the more alone you become. It's not just that you feel like an outsider. It's that your very awareness distances you from others. They don't want to be seen the way you see them because it forces them to confront their own blind spots, their own pretensions. And you realize that in this world, there are two ways to be. Either part of the dance, flowing in ignorance, or apart from it, seeing it for the illusion it truly is. But the truth is, the illusion is what makes the dance possible. So now, we have a choice to make. Do we continue to see, to be aware, even at the risk of alienation? Or do we choose to close our eyes, return to the game, and live in the unconscious peace that most people enjoy? This is the paradox of clear seeing. The more you see, the more you may wish you could unsee. There's a peculiar thing about human interaction. It's like a dance, unspoken, choreographed without a single word. At a party, you play your part. You exchange pleasantries, you ask about the weather, you laugh at the jokes. There's no need to ask why, it's just the way it works. Everyone knows the rules. No one ever says, "Let's pretend everything is fine." It's assumed, a subtle agreement to keep things light, to stay on the surface, to never venture too far into the messiness that lies beneath. But what if, one day, you step off the dance floor? What if you stop pretending? What happens when you see the cracks in the facade that everyone else is happy to ignore? It's like waking up from a dream only to realize you've been in a play all along. The moment you see beyond the scripted lines, you realize something unsettling. The roles people play are not just costumes. They are their entire identity. The businessman is not simply a man in a suit. He is the suit. The mother is not just a woman with children. She is the maternal figure, the caretaker, the giver. These roles, so essential to the functioning of society, are built on a delicate web of unspoken agreements. When you see the truth of these roles, you disrupt the whole play. You're no longer an actor, you're a critic. It's easy to feel like an outsider when you're not participating in the game. But what's even more dangerous is realizing that you can't help but play the game too. Even though you see through it, you still have to play your part. You still need to be seen, to be accepted, to fit into the system that you've uncovered. You realize the truth. You are not immune. The system that holds others in place is the same system that holds you too. Think of it this way. Society is like a stage play. Everyone has a part to play. The roles, success, devotion, reliability serve a purpose. These roles allow the world to continue turning, to keep moving forward. But you, with your clarity, you don't just watch the performance. You question it. You interrupt it. You say, "That's not real. That's just a performance." And in doing so, you threaten the very fabric of society. You force people to confront the illusion they've built their lives around. At first, it seems like a small thing. You point out the cracks, and people nod along, maybe with a little discomfort. But what happens when the cracks become too big to ignore? What happens when the masks begin to slip and the play starts to unravel? The truth is, the moment you see beyond the surface, you stop participating in the unspoken contract. You've seen the hidden rules that govern social life, the unspoken expectations, the things we pretend not to notice. And by seeing them, you become a threat to the structure that holds everything together. And that's the danger. Isolation. Not because of your difference, but because you are no longer willing to participate in the lie. Your clarity is no longer a gift, it's a curse. The paradox is this: to live without seeing, to live without awareness, is to live comfortably within the structure of the world. But the moment you see too clearly, you can no longer ignore the system. You are forced to decide. Will you continue to play along, or will you step off the stage, knowing that by doing so, you risk being left alone in a world that's far too complicated to ever be simple again? It's not about right or wrong. It's about the nature of perception and the burden that comes with it. The clearer you see, the more you risk becoming a ghost in the crowd, a reminder of the illusion that everyone else is desperately clinging to. The question is no longer, what is true? It's, can I still live in the world, knowing what I know? Here's where things get tricky. Once you've seen the truth, the raw, unvarnished truth, it's not as simple as acknowledging it. Once the curtain has been lifted and the magic revealed, the real dilemma begins. Do you speak out, or do you stay silent? This is the point where clarity turns into a double-edged sword. To speak, to share what you see, is to risk rejection, scorn, or worse, alienation. People may call you negative, paranoid, or a troublemaker. They'll accuse you of stirring up unnecessary conflict or overthinking the situation. And perhaps, just perhaps, they're right. Perhaps in their world of ignorance, you are the disruptor. You are the one making the waves in the still waters of their comfortable denial. But there's also a deeper cost to silence. When you choose to stay quiet, to pretend you haven't seen what you've seen, you're betraying not just the truth, but yourself. You're telling yourself that your perception, your very experience, doesn't matter. That the world, in all its false simplicity, is worth more than your clarity. You're silencing your own voice, and in doing so, you disconnect from your deepest knowing. You cease to be true to yourself. It's like holding your breath. You're aware of the need to exhale, but the pressure of doing so is overwhelming. You're stuck in a moment of paradox, too aware to remain silent, too afraid to speak. And this internal conflict starts to gnaw at you, eroding the foundation of your peace. When you speak, you challenge the world's constructed narratives. And when you don't, you build a wall inside yourself, cutting off the very lifeblood of your authenticity. It's a no-win situation, or so it seems. To speak is to risk rejection. To stay silent is to risk self-betrayal. But here's the crux of it. Neither choice is really about the truth at all. It's about the fear of the consequences. The truth itself is neither good nor bad, it simply is. It doesn't require defense or protection. Yet we, as humans, are conditioned to react, to protect ourselves from the discomfort that truth brings. We fear the implications of seeing too much, of being the one who knows and yet doesn't have the power to change anything. So we silence ourselves, thinking we'll be safe. We tell ourselves that by staying quiet, we can avoid the pain of rejection. But in truth, the pain of silence is far more profound. The longer we repress what we see, the more disconnected we become from our own essence. Every time you swallow your truth, every time you suppress the impulse to speak, you create a rift inside yourself. It's a strange paradox. In the world of clarity, you're often forced to choose between self-assertion and self-preservation. To speak is to reveal yourself. To remain silent is to lose yourself. And the irony is that both choices come with their own brand of suffering. Perhaps this is the true danger of seeing what others don't. The burden of carrying that vision, not knowing whether you should speak it or whether you should let it quietly die within you. To stay silent is not to avoid the chaos. It is to become part of the very illusion you sought to escape. And so, the dance continues, a delicate balance between action and inaction, truth and silence. But there's another way, one that exists not in the extremes but in the middle. You don't have to shout to make your presence known. You don't have to tear down every wall in front of you. Instead, you can simply observe. You can be the quiet witness, and sometimes that's enough. Because here's the deeper insight. The moment you stop needing to do something about what you see, when you let go of the compulsion to speak or to act, you allow the truth to breathe on its own. You let it find its own rhythm, its own way. And perhaps that is the truest form of clarity. Not in fighting for it, but in letting it simply be. In the end, the choice between action and silence is not really about either. It's about the courage to see clearly, and the wisdom to know when it's time to speak, and when it's time to simply let the truth unfold in its own way. Here's where the plot thickens. The moment you see clearly, the moment you start pointing out the hidden truths, something strange happens. You become the problem, not the lie you're exposing, not the illusion everyone else is clinging to. You become the issue. You see, when you begin to perceive the world as it truly is, you're not just revealing its flaws, you're exposing the very structure that people have relied on to feel secure. And people don't like that. It's uncomfortable. It shakes them to their core. Their reality begins to fracture, and they'll do anything to protect it, even if it means turning the blame on you. You're no longer the bearer of truth. You're the one who's causing trouble. You're the one disrupting the peace. This is what I call the phenomenon of shooting the messenger. When you bring up the uncomfortable truths, when you show people their hidden insecurities or dysfunctions, they won't thank you. They won't sit down and have a calm discussion about the things they'd rather ignore. Instead, they will turn on you. They'll label you as negative, paranoid, or dramatic. They'll say you're imagining problems that don't exist. And this isn't always because they're bad people. It's because your clarity threatens the story they've built around their lives. They need their world to stay in a certain shape, and your perception is like a rock thrown in the pond, rippling out into every corner of their existence. The irony is that this happens without malice. It's not a deliberate attack. No, it's the mind's defense mechanism at work. You've shown them a truth they weren't ready to see. And in that moment, it's easier for them to make you the problem than to face the discomfort of the truth. Your perception doesn't match theirs, so they decide that your perception is flawed, not theirs. This is where the most insidious danger lies. It's not just the isolation that comes from seeing too clearly. It's the way others project their discomfort onto you. You become the scapegoat for their refusal to wake up, the villain in their story of denial. You start to feel it, don't you? The subtle shift. You were once a participant in the dance of life, and now you're a disruptor. You see people talking, laughing, pretending, and you realize that you can't be part of it anymore. You can't play the game like everyone else. Not because you're above it, but because you've seen too much. And that makes them uncomfortable. You're no longer simply a player in the game. You're a witness to it, an outsider. At first, this might feel like a betrayal of sorts. How can truth create such isolation? But here's the paradox. Your clarity is not the enemy. It's not the problem. The problem lies in what people choose to do with their discomfort. They turn on you because they can't face the truth you're revealing. And in that, you are left with a choice. Do you continue to speak your truth, to show the world what lies beneath the surface, even at the cost of becoming a target? Or do you stay silent, suffocating your awareness, to avoid the discomfort of being labeled as the one who knows too much? The deeper insight here is this. The problem is never with the truth itself, nor with the person who sees it. The problem is with the unwillingness to accept it. The real danger comes when you start to internalize the criticism, when you believe that your perception is the problem, when you start to doubt your own clarity because others cannot bear to face it. But the truth is, you were never meant to carry the weight of everyone else's denial. And the moment you stop accepting their projections, stop believing their labels, you regain your freedom. You are not the problem. The problem is in the refusal to see. And once you realize that, you are free again. Free from the need to be understood. Free from the burden of having to make others see. You no longer have to fight for your clarity. It's yours, and it's enough. You can stand in your truth, unshaken, and let the world move around you as it will. In the end, the real gift of seeing clearly is not in forcing others to see, but in accepting that not everyone is ready to. You hold your clarity lightly, without the compulsion to fix or change anyone. And in doing so, you find peace. And that peace, my friend, is the greatest freedom of all. So here we are, at the heart of it all. You've seen, you've felt the weight of clarity. You've witnessed the discomfort it causes, both in yourself and others. But there's a deeper truth that waits quietly in the wings. The greatest danger in seeing what others don't is not in the knowledge itself, but in your attachment to it. The danger lies not in the perception, but in the compulsion to do something about it. It's tempting, isn't it? The desire to fix what you see, to right the wrongs, to make things clear for everyone else. You want to share the truth, to wake others from their slumber. You feel this overwhelming urge to help them see what they've missed, to drag them into the light of your awareness. And yet, this very impulse can be the thing that keeps you trapped in a cycle of frustration and exhaustion. You don't need to fix the world or anyone else. The world does not need saving. It does not need your intervention, your wisdom, or your well-intentioned corrections. What it needs, what you need, is the wisdom to let go, to stop forcing things to be the way you think they should be. There's a quiet, almost paradoxical wisdom in letting go of the need to change everything. When you stop trying to fix what's broken, when you stop pushing to make everyone see what you see, something remarkable happens. The truth doesn't disappear. It doesn't fade away. It simply becomes a part of the natural flow of life. You stop demanding that others wake up on your timeline, and you allow them to wake up in their own time, at their own pace. This is the art of living with clarity, without the burden of correction. It's about seeing the world clearly, but letting it unfold as it will, without the compulsion to control it. In this, you find peace, not because everything is as you wish, but because you've surrendered the need for everything to be perfect. You've accepted that some people may never see the truth the way you do, and that's okay. Here's where the magic lies. When you stop trying to fix the world, when you stop carrying the burden of everyone else's blindness, you become a beacon of quiet wisdom. You no longer force your perception on others. You simply hold it, gently, and allow it to be what it is. You let the world evolve without the constant need to intervene, and in that quiet space, something shifts. You no longer need to be understood. You are at peace with your clarity, whether anyone else acknowledges it or not. The paradox is this: the more you let go of the need to fix, the clearer your vision becomes. You see even more deeply, and you begin to trust that the universe has its own rhythm. You are no longer caught up in trying to control that rhythm, but you move with it. And in doing so, you find yourself aligned with the flow of life, as if you are dancing, not directing. Let me be clear, this is not about indifference. This is not about stepping back and letting the world fall apart. This is about accepting that some things are beyond your control, and that trying to change them only drains your energy. You are not here to fix others, to save them, or to make them see the truth. You are here to be present, to witness, to allow. And here's the soft call to action. You don't have to be the hero. You don't have to fix everything you see. You don't have to drag everyone into the light. Your job is simply to see clearly and let the world unfold as it will. You have already done your part by waking up. The rest, as they say, is up to the dance of life. There is a quiet power in allowing life to be what it is. When you stop resisting, when you stop fighting against the current, you realize something incredible. You are not separate from it. You are part of this great unfolding, this cosmic rhythm. The more you let go of the need to fix, the more you align with the flow. And in that alignment, the world begins to mirror back the peace you found. So here's the invitation. Step back. Breathe. You don't need to do anything more. Just be. In your clarity, in your awareness, in your peace, you offer the world the greatest gift you can give, the freedom to awaken at its own pace. And that is the wisdom of letting go.